Every morning you hear them before you see them. The chickadee in the maple, the cardinals somewhere near the fence, the robins moving through the yard in that low, rolling chatter that fills the space between sunrise and the first coffee. You have heard these sounds so many times, they have become part of the silence. Background, familiar, invisible. But they are not background. They are not random. What is happening in your yard every morning is something researchers have spent decades trying to fully decode, and what they have found changes the way you understand every bird that has ever visited your yard. Those sounds are language, not metaphorically, not in the loose sense we sometimes use when we say animals communicate. Language with structure, with grammar, with specific meaning that other birds understand instantly and act on within seconds. The calls your birds make follow rules. They have syntax. A chickadee does not randomly assemble sounds. It produces sequences that carry specific, predictable meaning to every bird in earshot. Researchers who have spent careers studying this are careful about the word language because it carries implications they want to be precise about. But they are equally careful to say that what birds do with sound goes far beyond what most people imagine when they look out the kitchen window at the feeder. And part of what they are saying, right now, in your yard, is about you. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Mind. If you are new here, subscribe before you leave, because what you are about to learn will change the way you listen to your yard forever. Today, we are going into the actual science of what birds say to each other, what the calls mean, how other species understand them, and what the birds in your yard have already figured out about who you are. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover is the one that most people never think about, and it reveals something about your relationship with the birds in your yard that will genuinely surprise you. Number 1. The chickadee's alarm call contains more information than most people have words for. The black-capped chickadee is one of the most studied birds in North America, and the more researchers study it, the more its calls reveal a sophistication that stops scientists mid-sentence. You know the basic call, chickadee-dee-dee. It is the one that gave the bird its name. But here is what that call actually is. Ornithologists at the University of Washington was this. The number of D syllables at the end of the call is not random. It directly encodes the threat level of whatever predator is nearby. A small, agile predator, a pygmy owl, a sharp-shinned hawk, something that can maneuver through branches at speed and catch a small bird in dense cover, triggers a call with up to 23 D syllables. A large, slow predator, like a great horned owl, which is dangerous but easy to avoid in the open, gets far fewer. The call is a broadcast. Every bird in earshot, chickadees, nuthatches, titmice, woodpeckers, hears it and immediately understands not just that a predator is present, but how dangerous it is and how to respond. Small, fast predator, freeze in dense cover, do not move.
Large, slow predator. You can mob it, you can chase it off. Collective action is possible. When you walk into your yard, the chickadee calls. Pay attention to how many D syllables it adds. It is telling every other bird in your yard exactly how it has assessed you, your size, your movement, your speed, your level of threat. You are being evaluated and announced every single time. Number 2, birds across species understand each other's alarms, and your yard runs on a shared early warning system. Here is something that took researchers a long time to fully document because it required careful work to separate what birds were actually doing from what observers assumed they were doing. The birds in your yard are not operating as separate species with separate communication systems. They are operating as a mixed community with a shared alarm network. When a robin gives its sharp staccato alarm call, the chickadee responds. When the chickadee gives its high DD cascade, the nuthatch freezes. When the blue jay screams, that piercing, descending cry that cuts through everything, every bird in your yard goes silent and still within 2 seconds, regardless of species. Researchers at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology have documented what they call heterospecific eavesdropping, the deliberate monitoring of other species' alarm calls to gather information about the environment. Birds are not just listening to their own kind. They are actively listening to every species around them, extracting information, updating their understanding of what is safe and what is not. The blue jay functions as the loudest alarm broadcaster in most Eastern American yards. When a blue jay screams hawk, every bird treats it as a confirmed hawk sighting. No verification needed.
The jay's call has enough accuracy and enough urgency that other species have learned to trust it completely. What this means for your yard is this: it is not a collection of individual birds, it is a network, a community with shared infrastructure, and that infrastructure runs on sound, all day, every day, in ways you are only beginning to hear. Number 3. Cardinals communicate territory in ways that are invisible unless you know what to listen for. The male northern cardinal's song is one of the most recognizable sounds in the American backyard. Clear, whistling, loud enough to carry across an entire neighborhood. What cheer, 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 cheer. You have heard it 10,000 times. What you may not know is that the female cardinal sings too, and that her song is one of the most functionally specific vocalizations in your yard. Research from Ohio State University documented that female cardinal sings from the nest, and that their song communicates directly with the male about food delivery. The female adjusts the rate and pattern of her call based on whether the nestlings need feeding, and the male responds by increasing or decreasing how frequently he brings food. She is not just calling, she is directing resource allocation in real time from inside the nest. The male's territorial song, meanwhile, is not just a declaration, it is a negotiation. Cardinals in established territories know their neighbors' voices. Research shows that when a cardinal hears a familiar neighbor's song from the expected direction, it lowers its response. When it hears an unfamiliar song from the same direction, indicating a stranger has entered the territory, its response escalates immediately. They know who belongs and who does not. They track individuals by voice.
And when a new voice appears in your yard, every cardinal within earshot registers it. Number 4. Crows have dialects, and they remember voices the same way they remember faces. We have talked before on this channel about how crows remember human faces. That research from the University of Washington showed that crows held grudges against specific people for years, passing the information about threatening individuals to other crows through social learning. What that research also revealed, and what gets less attention, is the role that sound plays in crow communication. Crows have regional dialects. Groups of crows in different geographic areas develop slightly different versions of their calls, variations in pitch, rhythm, and sequence that function like accents. Crows raised in one area and moved to another area as adults can be identified as outsiders by local crow groups based on their calls alone. More relevantly for your yard, crows call to each other about specific locations and specific events. When a crow finds a food source, your yard, your feeder, a place where a reliable human puts out food, it communicates that location to other crows, not just in the moment, over time. The information about where food is reliably available becomes part of what crow groups share. If crows visit your yard regularly, it is not random. They have discussed it. They have decided collectively that your yard is worth the visit. And the sound they make when they arrive, that rolling, conversational series of calls that sounds almost like commentary, is exactly that, commentary, about your yard, about what is there, possibly about you. Number 5. The sounds of comfort. What birds say when nothing is long.
We have spent the first half of this video on alarm and territory and communication under pressure. But there is another category of bird sound that is just as rich and far less understood. Contact calls. These are the soft, low sounds birds make when everything is fine. When a flock of goldfinches moves through your yard, they keep up a constant stream of quiet, perchicory calls. Not alarm, not territorial song, just the sound of keeping track of each other. I am here. Still here. Still here. Chickadees do the same. That soft, conversational gargling sound you sometimes hear when a small group moves through together, that is a contact call. It is the sound of community maintenance, of a flock saying continuously, "We are together, we are safe, keep moving." What researchers find striking is how different these sounds are from alarm and song. They are quieter, more variable, less stereotyped. They sound more like conversation, because functionally that is closer to what they are. Dark-eyed juncos traveling in winter flocks use contact calls to stay coordinated while foraging on the ground, each bird keeping track of the others without having to look up constantly. Carolina wrens, usually so loud, so declarative, drop to a whisper when they move through dense brush together. The volume drops because the distance is short and the purpose is different. They are not broadcasting, they are talking. When your yard is full of these sounds, when you can hear the soft chatter of birds moving through without alarm, without urgency, that is the sound of a yard that feels safe, a yard that has been assessed over time and found to be trustworthy. That sound is not nothing. That sound is a verdict.
Number 6. What the birds in your yard have already said about you. Here is what the science makes clear when you put it all together. The birds in your yard are not passive. They are not simply present. They are continuously gathering information about their environment, including the humans in it, and sharing that information with each other through sound. Research from the University of Exeter on garden birds in the United Kingdom found that birds in residential gardens develop individual responses to specific humans over time. Birds that regularly see the same person behaving non-threateningly, moving slowly, providing food, not making sudden movements, gradually reduce their alarm responses to that person specifically. Not to all humans, to that person. They are tracking you individually and communicating what they have learned. The chickadee that no longer adds extra D syllables when you step outside has already told the other birds in your yard something about you. The cardinal that keeps singing while you stand at the window, not stopping, not freezing, just continuing, has made a calculation about your level of threat and come to a conclusion. The nuthatches that feed while you are 3 feet away, the juncos that do not flush when you open the back door, the titmouse that lands on the feeder while you are still standing next to it. These are not coincidences. These are the result of a long, ongoing process of evaluation and communication that happens in your yard every single day without you knowing it was happening. You have been assessed, and the sounds you hear in your yard every morning, the ones that have become familiar, the ones you thought were background, those sounds include the conclusion.
The yard you have built has a reputation. The birds in it have discussed you. They have compared notes, in their way, through alarm calls that carry your threat level, through settled contact calls that signal this place is safe, through the absence of panic when you step outside in the morning. Most people walk through their yards without knowing any of this is